Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Day today is the 14th of November, and the year is 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Single, aka Motown Noah. Hoops, hoops, hoops. Got a lot of ball to talk about today, folks. Something that we have all been waiting for since, I don't know, about 10 months removed from the single dumbest thing that has ever happened. Not just in the NBA, but potentially in American sports and its broader reaches. Ever. When Luka Doncic was senselessly traded in the middle of the night and a mass exodus of Dallas Mavericks fans followed in the immediate aftermath and, well, in the distant aftermath of the Luka, it still happens to this day, in the aftermath of the Luka Doncic trade. Guys, gone. Fire Nico, general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. Every single game. It transcended the borders of a basketball arena. I mean, the most random place off the top of my head that Fire Nico chants broke out. Well, it's Texas, so like a rodeo. It happened at a rodeo. Remember a clip of that happening once? Like a medieval festival. I think some dudes, I don't remember if they were jousting or if they were throwing like little people at like dartboards or something. I don't remember what they were doing. It was a medieval festival, Renaissance festival. Fire Nico chants broke out there. In a lot of ways, it became the identity of not just an organization, but for an entire sport. Fire Nico. You know, this ultimate villain had emerged in the NBA. A guy who otherwise, up to that point, was pretty well liked and respected. People respected Nico Harrison, if not for his basketball resume, than for his business acumen, right? Despite, everybody gives him shit for, was it Steph that he botched the Nike pitch for Steph? He had like the wrong name or something. I don't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was Steph though. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of happens to everybody's got something like that. It's funny looking back on that's the way that it happened. Even Steph, just as a quick aside of the whole Nico thing, did you see this? Did you hear about this? He's going to let his contract with Under Armour dry up. Steph Curry officially outgrew an entire brand. That happened years ago. I mean, we may be on year 10 of Steph Curry being a bigger brand individually than Under Armour as a whole. Even Tom Brady being an Under Armour guy is kind of crazy at this point. There was a brief run where Under Armour was really locking up the best players in every single sport. They had Brady, they had Steph, they had Jordan Spieth, who, for a short time. Bryce Harper, I believe, was an Under Armour guy. They were really getting a lot of guys. Steph Curry, after 2026, will be a sneaker free agent. Going to take the Curry brand. Just going to do his own little his solo route. This is his breakoff album. This is like when Migos first became a thing, and everybody was expecting that Quavo was going to be the one that kind of broke off and did his own solo thing. That's not really how that ended up happening. How did we get here, folks? Nico Harrison. This is supposed to be about Nico Harrison. The short end of this. He got his comeuppance. You've heard everybody talk about it this week. You've heard everybody give their takes on it. You've heard everybody rehash how insane that trade was, how indefensible it was that it happened, and how it's shocked that he lasted as long as he did. All things considered, even though we are still inside of the same calendar year, that this irredeemable and irrevocably bad thing happened to a franchise. Hundreds of millions of dollars in value, tanked, gone in an instant. Again, if not in an instant, then in the weeks and months that followed that trade, hundreds of millions of dollars gone in franchise value. A new ownership group just bought the team. Just purchased a controlling and majority stake in the team not too long before the trade actually went through, and gone. It's all gone, man. There's a lot of commentary about the night before this happened. The game that they played, that Dallas played, the morning before Nico Harrison was fired. There was a kid sitting courtside next to Patrick Dumont, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, part owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He and his wife. And the guy's wearing a Lakers jersey, wearing a Lakers Luka Doncic jersey. And there's, some viral moments of just some snapshots of these two dudes sitting next to each other. I guess the broadcast was at the Mavs broadcast that ended up interviewing the kid. I I don't know. People are like, oh, was he the reason that, Nico Harrison ended up getting fired? I guess Patrick Dumont was candid with him, and he was like, yeah, in retrospect, I do regret the trade because of the reaction. And I'm like, well, that's not real regret then. You're just mad that you're bummed that people are upset. That doesn't mean that you regret doing it. Saying like, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, you're not sorry for anything. I'm sorry you feel that way. You know what I mean? It's like, it's actually very dismissive what you're saying. I feel bad about the Luka trade. I regret it because people are now upset about it. That whole thing is a complete nothing burger. Absolute nothing burger. I don't know. I guess I just feel bad. It sort of just in the sort of host and audience way. I don't got takes for you. You know why? I don't have anything on this. Because to me, the headline, sorry, I bumped the mic. The headline reads thus: dumbest guy who made the dumbest move got fired. In the end, the dumbest guy who did the dumbest thing got fired. That's basically it. And then the other layer to it is, okay, you're a Mavs fan. Congrats. You did it. Nico has been fired. Now you need a new GM. Okay. That doesn't bring Luka back, though. It doesn't bring Luka back. And the real problem here, like, it was barely, I don't want to say it was barely Nico. Clearly this whole thing was orchestrated by him. Clearly this was all his idea. And he used the Adelsons and the Dumonts, I don't know, naivete. They're not their negligence. What's the word that I'm looking for here? He just sort of duped them. He used their lack of knowledge against them, and he was like, no, this is actually really... The language that's coming out now is Patrick Dumont viewed Nico Harrison as a basketball savant, and that he could do no wrong, and that everything he did was calculated and five-head and genius. And so when he went to Patrick Dumont, Nico Harrison goes to Patrick Dumont, he's like, hey, we should do this thing. He's like, all right, you see something I don't see, and I trust you. And Nico Harrison got his way. I'm just kind of like, yeah, but your owners are still not good at what they do. They're still really bad owners. And so now that you've fired Nico, like, okay, well, now everything's just going to come crashing down. Maybe that's the reset that you needed. Maybe that's all that you were looking for. I'm not trying to tell you how to be a fan. I'm just saying, like, now what? Because now who are you mad at? Like, are you just trying to move on? Is that all that I don't know. Thank God you have Cooper Flagg. Who most recently, the most recent game that they played, I'm taping this on Thursday night, they lost. I don't remember who they were playing. They lost again. Cooper Flagg, maybe they didn't. It was the game where Cooper Flagg got hurt. I don't remember. Something with his shoulder. And he's after the game talking about, like, man, these fans have been through a lot this year. And, we are really not giving them anything to cheer for. But when they do cheer, like, they make a massive impact. And I don't really blame them for being pissed off about, other things. But we just kind of have to make it better. Like, it's on us to make it better. It's like the genesis of what he was saying, right? That's not really verbatim, but it's like the essence of what he was saying. It's just such a mature answer from him. A guy who a week ago was like, fuck, I've never lost this much and this sucks. And it's like, this is the second week of your rookie season. It's just so funny. He wasn't wrong, and I completely get where he was coming from, but it was just funny. No, and thank God they have him, man, because this really could look so much worse. Now people are starting to do the thing. Okay, so what's going to happen with Kyrie once he comes back from the ACL? And now what do you do with Anthony Davis, a guy who's dealing with a calf strain, and apparently Nico Harrison was trying to play him, which, the most famous recent history of this, but this was even the case with Kevin Durant when it happened to him in the finals. Guys who rupture their Achilles are, like, pretty famously nowadays also nursing a calf strain, like #moments before disaster. You know what I mean? So once you hear that somebody has a calf strain, the last thing that you want to do is rush them back. Nico Harrison was also trying to force Luka Doncic to come back early from a calf strain. And then he was like, no, you're actually just too fat, and you're not committed to, getting back on my medical timeline or whatever the fuck. And so he traded him. Dumb guy gets dumb fired in the dumbest way possible. Shams Charania tweets out at 9:30 in the morning Central Time, and he's like, hey, Nico Harrison has a meeting scheduled for 10 o'clock Central Time, and he's going to get fired in that meeting. What the hell? Huh? You're Nico Harrison and you're sitting at your desk and, like, a meeting pops up in, like, Google Meets or something. Somebody hits you on Slack at HR and they're like, hey, do you have 5 for a quick chat at 10 o'clock? And he's like, yeah, I got all the time in the world. I got literally nothing else going on. And then as soon as he swipes up on that Slack message, he gets a boop from Shams Charania tweet notification. He's like, oh. He finds out that he's getting fired. Just very, very funny. And honestly, you see this, you hear about this. Was this on his LinkedIn or his Instagram or Twitter? I don't know on what social media it was. But I did see on one of Nico Harrison's social media accounts, he changed his bio from like general manager of the Dallas Mavericks to unemployed. Honestly, brother, I'm going to be honest. Fuck you for having a sense of humor about this. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not funny. I'm laughing. Despite that, it's not funny. It's not funny and it's not cute. Fuck you. I don't think you should have any sense of humor about this at all. I cannot wait. I very much cannot wait. How long is it going to be until we get the docu-series? You know, because they're going to milk at least 3 episodes out of this whole thing with Nico Harrison. How far into the future until he's giving his side of things and how is he going to victimize himself? You know, I think it's going to be the question. Oh man, it was just so hard to be out in public. And there was so many videos of that guy just like being out to eat like with his fucking family and people walking up to him and being like, fuck you. That's crazy. That's crazy. People were so mad about this. I was talking to one of you about this the other day and you were like, do you ever go back and like rewatch old episodes? And I'm like, no, I don't. It just bothers me and I don't do it, right? I lied a little bit because it was, I don't know, like maybe a month ago. I went back and rewatched certain parts of the Luka episode when he got traded. Damn, bro, I was so mad about that. We were so collectively so mad about that. It's crazy to look back on it. Like, you remember being upset about it. Obviously, you remember being shocked. Mavs fans, it's kind of a different thing. I'm just talking about for like anybody who wasn't, you know, involved in the trade. Lakers fans, Mavs fans, technically Jazz fans, but you know what I mean? Like everybody else who had nothing to do with anything in this trade. I just think I forgot how actually real life mad we were. And it's crazy, and we should have been. It's a tragedy, but there will be a day, man, when there's this. I don't know if he's going to write a book. Like, I don't know. I don't really think this is a story that would be preserved by physical media. So I don't know if a book deal is really going to be the thing here. No, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to come back someday. Maybe the angle is he can't say that it was ownership. I don't think they could. Maybe he could. Because that was the theory for the first maybe month, was that everybody tried to do the fucking Las Vegas thing. Saw right through that. So glad I stuck to my guns on that one. I said all this Las Vegas bullshit is nothing but that. It's bullshit. They're not going to Las Vegas. People trying to connect the dots with casinos and slot machines and all this shit. No. It had nothing to do with anything. No, it was just Nico Harrison and his nonsense and his racket. He was a rogue agent, essentially. He's a rogue agent. Right? I guess since the trade has actually happened, how many games has Anthony Davis been eligible to play? Give or take 50. Let's just give or take, do round number 50. How many of them has he played? Like 20 of them? Maybe. Can he say that? Could he say, well, Anthony Davis got hurt and he got poked in his eye and had to wear goggles forever, and then he strained his calf and he didn't want to rupture his Achilles, so he wouldn't come back from that. And Kyrie blew out his ACL. You know, the first 10 games of this season, Klay Thompson was completely MIA. Maybe that's another piece of this too. So maybe does he just go the whole like, well, we were injured, and so we didn't actually get to, you know, I didn't get that many games with Cooper Flagg, and so my vision, they didn't allow me to see it to fruition. You know, we got PJ Washington on a new contract. They didn't allow me to see my vision come to fruition. I don't know, man. I don't know. Some of this, at least some of it, I don't know what the percentage is, what the chunk of the, you know, what the pie chart would be, but some of this, in terms of when he got fired, is just because they've had a terrible start to the season. They've been terrible to start the season. The team has absolutely no identity at all. They've been terrible. Well, okay, what if they weren't? What if they were playing 500 basketball right now? You know, does he still get fired? Because people are still going to be mad no matter what. By the way, that's kind of the other thing. It's like, just because he's gone doesn't mean people are going to stop being mad. Luka is still a Laker, and he probably will be forever. Right? I don't know. How does this make you feel? I don't know. We did get an email about it, copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. You know, we got a couple But I just don't. We'll just do this one. This one comes into us from Ryan. Ryan, welcome back to the show. Now, Ryan, like a week or two ago, had sent in an email about Nico Harrison. But he's a Mavs fan. And I was just like, I just didn't read it because I was like, yeah, I get it. We fucking all hate him, and I get it. Well, he replied to that email just the other day. Ryan, welcome back to the show. You said, ding dong, the witch is dead. I do still stand by my sentiments from the previous email. Well, fuck. Now do I have to? Let me just do that. You say you have three main thoughts post Nico firing. It's from a Mavs fan. So let's see. Number one, this completely validates the claims that our new owners are morons who got gaslit into oblivion by Nico into thinking that trading away one of the best basketball players alive is actually beneficial for the team. Yep. Nailed that one. Covered that. Yep. We're completely on the same page. Number two. I've seen far too many people trying to frame this as Nico being the fall guy after being forced by ownership to trade Luka. Do not try to rehabilitate this man. Let's break it for 2 seconds. All right. Well, we were kind of just talking about this. Yeah. People are going to do some crazy, nasty spin zones for sure. And maybe we'll stumble into one on our own here. Let's get back to it. Nico is not a moron. He knew the kind of effect that this would have on the team and the fan base. And even if Patrick Dumont had a literal gun to Nico's head, there was no reason for him to continue defending this trade the way that he did for months on end. Number three, this is only the first step. Getting rid of Nico was inevitable and a good thing, but ownership did still approve this trade. And even if they're morons for doing so, they too must be held accountable. It's time to turn those fired Nico chants into sell the team chants. Will it happen? Probably not. But it is the best way to make ownership afraid of making public appearances. Then that's what needs to happen. Yeah, okay. And what you said in there, we also talked about a little bit. So getting rid of Nico is inevitable and a good thing, but ownership did still approve this trade. And even if they're morons for doing so, they too must be held accountable. Yeah, if you're a Mavs fan, if you want to be like super ultra mega optimist, there's been nothing that would give you any reason to believe or to think what I'm about to say. But if you wanted to just, turn the page on this whole thing and start fresh, like this is what you could think. Maybe we have two very gullible owners for all intents and purposes. We'll just say Patrick Dumont, very gullible guy, clearly doesn't know ball at all. It's okay if you don't know ball. But this is where, if you're optimistic, you can say he will hold himself accountable and he will learn from this, and maybe the next time somebody just blindly tells him something that it's a good idea, he will maybe ask somebody else. Just get a second opinion. Because he couldn't have gotten a second opinion from anybody on this, clearly. Nico must have even said to his owner, like, dog, you can't tell anybody about this. Cannot tell anybody about this. Obviously, Rob Pelinka was motivated, to say the least, to keep this one under wraps. He had no reason to say a word about this to anybody, even his wife. Even if Rob Lowe was doing a biopic and he was playing Rob Pelinka in a movie, and Rob Lowe was living in Rob Pelinka's back house trying to like really get into character, I don't even think Rob Lowe would... Now I'm getting my wires crossed. I don't even think Rob Pelinka would share that information with Rob Lowe. There's no chance that I'm about to trade for Luka Doncic and risk that getting out. No, I'm about to get him for free. I'm about to get him see, and now I'm doing what everybody else is doing, where I'm about to rehash the whole damn thing. I don't even want to heat up and talk about it because we get it. It's crazy. It's crazy that this happened. It's crazy that he's a Laker. And it's not crazy that Nico got fired. I'm just kind of like, yep. Like Ryan said, this was going to happen and we finally did it. And now it's like, okay, Mavs fans, now what do you do? You got through the wall. Congratulations. Now what? What's the next thing that we do? Is it trading Anthony Davis? That's what they're saying. That's what people are asking. I don't know. Anthony Davis, there's a rumor, it was John Wall, he said on like a TV show, said something about Anthony Davis, quote unquote, going home, coming to Chicago. Oh, okay. I don't even know what you put in I don't know. What do you even get for him? What do you even get for him at this point? And if you're Chicago, yeah, I don't know. I guess there's really no downside. I think, especially from just getting people excited about the team. I just don't think people in this city care about the Bulls. They do. Of course they do. And when they're good, the people will show up and they'll watch the Bulls. But I see what the city looks like when like the Bears are good and what it looks like when the Cubs are good or when the White Sox haven't been good in a little bit. But you know what I mean? Like I see what it looks like when other teams in Chicago are good. And I don't know. In Chicago, just kind of doesn't really seem like it's the same. Everybody wears bullshit, but people just don't really. Nico Harrison fired by the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm kind of despite talking about it for the first almost 20 minutes of the show, like I said, I guess I just don't have that much on this one. But here's something I do got some stuff on. I meant to talk about this the other day. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? We've been keeping an eye on this NBA Europe business for the last couple of months. And simultaneously, because what goes hand in hand with that, as the NBA pursues international expansion, the proverbial window on domestic expansion rapidly tightens, and we are approaching a completely sealed territory, domestic expansion here in the United States. Relocation is a completely different thing. I'm looking at you, New Orleans. Relocation is a completely different thing, right? Expansion, adding Seattle and adding Vegas, I think was just killed. And nobody's talking about it because the major publications haven't published anything yet, and I think I have surmised an idea as to why that is, and it's not interesting or conspiratorial at all. It just kind of is the way that it is, right? Okay, what am I mad about? What the hell am I talking about? NBA Europe. It's confirmed. It's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. Now, this is not, by the way, the EuroLeague, like just forming like a live golf type thing with the NBA and creating NBA Europe. No, that's what I think a smart person would think that this is. This whole thing is stupid to begin with, by the way. But Nick, what is it? Well, hold on. Okay, you're right. Let me explain what it is. I haven't done that yet. NBA Europe will be 16 teams. 2 of them are going to be in England. There are going to be some in the 2 in Spain. They're going to be, I think, Rome and Milan. We got 2 in Italy. I think there's going to be 1 in Istanbul. Got them from all over Europe, okay? But they're not going to be existing teams. There's a rumor that Galatasaray, the real life, are they in EuroLeague? I don't know what league they're in. The real life Galatasaray, their basketball team, will be in this. Okay, that's a real club. But like the clubs that they would be creating or that they would have located in Manchester or in Barcelona or in Madrid or in Milan would be new teams. Like this is not like it would be NBA Real Madrid, not fucking Real Madrid, right? It'd be NBA Barcelona or like whatever they call it. It wouldn't just be Barcelona. You get what I'm saying here? These are going to be new teams. Okay, so we're just okay. They also say 12 of these teams will be permanent. 4 of them potentially rotating with like the fucking EuroLeague, Champions League, or whatever the fuck. And there's going to be an opportunity for promotion and relegation. I'm like, well, if 12 of these teams are permanent, then promotion and relegation is stupid. Then it doesn't make, then who cares if it's just for 4? Maybe this league is, we don't even know if this league is going to matter. We don't even know if it's going to matter. So, Nick, what the hell does this have to do with domestic expansion? Listen, and I apologize. We talk about this a fucking lot on this show. So if you listen frequently, I apologize that I'm just repeating a lot of stuff that I say all the time. But this matters because people aren't talking about this. So now the NBA gets to expand internationally. They get to add 12 teams under their umbrella, and not one of those franchises will get a piece of the media rights deal that the NBA is just, but the revenue that they generate will go to the NBA. So these owners are making more money without having to distribute it amongst 12 to 16 new fucking teams. Because they didn't want to add 2 new teams in the American, is what we'll have to call it, the North American, because we do have the Raptors, right? The North American NBA. Because if you add 2 new teams, that's 1 per conference, that's, I don't know, you lose out on what, $150 million of revenue? Bullshit. And I say at the beginning, and nobody's talking about this. No, nobody's reporting on this. And I think I know why. I think I do. If you look up NBA Europe right now, you're only going to find articles from the hoopsnewsrumors.gov.edu and like turkishballwatcher.hatchback or some bullshit like that. Like the most third rate, you got viruses the second you open them, aggregate sites. One article from ESPN, which wasn't even written by anybody at ESPN. It was written by a columnist from the fucking Associated Press. What the shit is going on here? What's going on here? I think why don't we read that? I haven't read the ESPN one. Maybe they'll give us information that I haven't Let me look that up really quick while I'm saying this. Well, fuck. What was I about to say? I was talking about NBA Europe. Oh, damn it. Well, let me just find the thing. NBA Europe. Okay, it was written by the Associated Press. Oh, well, they haven't said anything yet because they're waiting until the Grizzlies play games in, is it Germany that they're playing in later this year? So I think that's in January or maybe February. I think they're just going to be waiting for that. And then you got a couple months, get their ducks in a row, wait until there's something real to announce. Maybe we have, commitments from existing EuroLeague franchises who are willing to join. Because right now they're just going to be creating most, if not all, of these teams from scratch. And that just seems dumb. So NBA's Europe-based league may launch in October 2027. This is from ESPN. The NBA is targeting October 2027 as a potential launch date for the new Europe-based league that it and FIBA have been working to make happen, a league official said Friday. NBA Europe Managing Director George, speaking at a conference in Milan, said the first season of the new league might be described as a quote-unquote semi-opening, indicating that not all of the slots in the planned 16-league team could be allocated at the time. NBA officials, including Commissioner Adam Silver, have been saying a 2027 or 2028 were the working targets for a launch. Okay, so nothing crazy here. Here we go. 16-team model calls for 12 permanent franchises. Current target countries as Britain, with the potential host cities there being London and Manchester. In France, it would be Paris and Lyon. Spain, Madrid and Barcelona. Italy, Rome and Milan. Germany, it would be Munich and Berlin. Greece, it would be Athens. And in Turkey, it would be Istanbul. No deals with any city or club have been formally announced by the NBA at this point. Okay, so this is reporting Galatasaray as that. Well, they didn't say this explicitly, but they didn't say anything about Galatasaray, so maybe what I saw was wrong. Or maybe it's just not been official yet. So let's get back to it. Well, do we need to get back to it? The other four teams in this league. Yeah, here we go. The other four teams in this league could qualify by winning either FIBA's Basketball Champions League or through their performance in domestic leagues in Europe. It's unclear when the NBA could announce anything formally about the launch date or the initial list of franchises. The NBA is sending the Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies to play in Berlin and London in mid-January. And it seems possible that some news about the new league would be announced on that trip to Europe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's basically it. And then they talk a little bit about, maybe, we get the wheels spinning on this thing a couple of years into it. Maybe the NBA Cup goes international, and, that's when all these teams start to play each other, kind of like what we saw in the Club World Cup this last summer in soccer. Yeah, maybe they do something like that. Yeah, I just think this is dumb. So that article pretty much laid everything out. I guess I summarized it. I didn't even need to read that. Basically, that article summarized everything that I had just spent fucking 10 minutes talking. Well, not even that long, but like 5 minutes talking about. Okay, no, I just hate it. I just think it's dumb. I think it's corny. I think it's transparent. I think it's funny that for a league that is staring down the barrel of a pretty serious, mob, double barrel sawed-off shotgun, kind of funny to go to Europe. Where you would be working, you'd be brushing elbows with, dudes from FIFA who are, pretty notoriously the most, corrupt sports guys in the world that have literally ever lived ever. Sure. Yeah. No, let's go to Rome and let's go to Milan. No, let's go to the fucking Gambino family's back door and just ask them what action they want on the game. Let's do that. I just think it's dumb. And the counter to that, right? Because if it's not that, if we're not playing games in Rome and in Milan, then my argument would be, we should be, listen, if the mafia is going to be meddling with these games, they got to at least do it in United States of America. You can at least do it in Las Vegas. Get a team in Las Vegas. Right. I'm mad that people are going to be gambling and fixing games, in their native country of Italy. You got to be doing that shit in the United States. We got to manufacture outcomes here in the United States. We can't take jobs away from the Italian American mafia, guys. We can't do that shit. No way. We're going to outsource the Italian mob back to their, or I guess technically they've outsourced it. They've outsourced it to here. And you want to talk about, man, gambling? I'm fucking going nowhere with that one. I got going nowhere with that one. Gambling scandals. What's going on in baseball, I would argue, is I don't want to say it blows the roof off of whatever the fuck the NBA's got going on. Because what they got, like what Emmanuel Clase's got going on, intentionally throwing a ball on like the first pitch of every at bat and collecting like $10 for doing it every single time. It kind of just puts every single pitch in question. Every single one. You just kind of have to analyze a little bit differently, Because, like, he was throwing balls that, like, he wasn't giving the ump a chance to, like, to accidentally fuck up the call and call it a strike. No, he would just throw it in the dirt. A guy who has that command was throwing it in the dirt. No way. And I don't know how they're going to, I don't want to say how they're going to get out of that one. I don't know. I think that it's not, I don't think there's going to be this big reckoning, like this big overhaul or like this big like regulatory movement with gambling in sports. I don't think until it happens in the NFL. I think once America's game is corrupted by this incessant violence, then people are going to start to, then the Congress people of the United States will, hold on. The integrity of our game. I don't know why are the Bears. Are they Bears fans? People in Congress are. Congress would be a lot funnier if everybody just had the Bears accent. It'd be a lot funnier. Actually, Bob, I don't think that kids should be. See, now I'm tricking myself. I can't just do the joke. Because then I have to qualify what I'm about to say with something else. I'm trying to do. It doesn't matter. I fucked it up at this point. The Bears, Bob. No, because now I'm also doing kind of like it's like Rick Moranis. Now I'm doing like a Canadian. In some way, the Venn diagram does cross a little bit when it comes to the sort of stereotypical Molson drinking Canadian and the Polish sausage. Chicagoan, you know what I'm saying? The Bears. Imagine a Canadian saying that. They would be like, ooh, the Bears. It's just a little deeper. There's just a little bit more bass in what am I talking about? Come on, Nick, what are we doing? Just move on to something else or end the show. If you don't have anything to talk about, you don't have to keep doing the show. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do what you're doing. All right, fine. What else is there? I've kind of tried to like chill on doing Pistons segment, just like a little bit. More specifically talking about, now I say that despite the fact that I spent 40 minutes talking about them in the last one and have shown no signs of slowing down. But I do kind of want to just like pump the brakes a little bit because like, yes, other things are happening in the NBA, right? Well, okay, but then like they just keep doing shit. You know what I mean? Then there's just like another thing that Cade does. Then there's just like another wrinkle to the season. Like, oh, Dennis Jenkins is, we're going to have a conversation about this or, Marcus Sasser reevaluated earlier this week and he's going to be out for at least 4 more weeks. And so even before that Washington game that the Pistons played on Monday night on Peacock, where, Dennis Jenkins explodes and he, hits a game tying shot to send it to overtime at the buzzer end of the fourth quarter. Had a massive game. Even before that, he had played some pretty big minutes for the Pistons this season. Hadn't played in every game. Hadn't even played a ton of minutes. I would wager he hadn't topped like 15. Maybe he had. I don't know because Sasser's been out the whole year and depth has been kind of weird. He's gotten some run and he's been good. But man, like just a complete emergence from that guy. No, that Monday night game, man, that they played against Washington. First of all, I don't know the last time it's easy for me to say this because it's my favorite team. And of course I was watching the game, but it's also nationally televised. You want to talk about a litmus test for like who was watching that shit? A litmus test of were you watching the game or did you see the box score after and saw that Cade had like 46 points, 48 points on like 55 shots? Because if that's all that you saw, you probably said some wicked shit. You probably said some shit that you're going to regret because it was probably dumb. Oh, boy, watching that game. Watching your favorite player on a team that otherwise never has ever had a guy who did what Cade just did, who shoots 50 times in a game. Oh my God. Oh, I loved it. Oh boy, I loved it. But it was because he had to. He had to. Second night of a back-to-back. Dude is absolutely gassed the whole game. Doesn't have his legs. He's short-arming everything. He's clearing out. ISO bucket, ISO bucket. He's getting to the rim, and he's generating good looks, but he's not finishing anything. I saw, with the amount of shots he ended up taking, however many it was, if he shot 100% from the field, he would have scored 119 points. Got to the line a bunch in this game, too, and shot really well, too, despite the fact that he had dead legs and just couldn't get the ball up. Or again, he could. It just fucking was not. The bounce just wasn't there. He shot really well from the free throw line. No, we needed every single even miss that Cade had in that game against Washington in order to win. You know, it sounds silly because it was Washington. Again, like, it wasn't just that it was the Wizards, a team, by the way, that I would say out of all of the teams that stink, Washington is probably the best team that, stinks. But I don't know. The Pistons also were without everyone. Name a guy. They probably didn't have them in that game. They didn't have Stu. They didn't have Asar. They haven't had Ivy. They didn't have Tobias. I don't think they had Karras. They didn't have anybody in that game, bro. And they still won. And what's crazy is, like, he went full. People, I got to give people credit, and I got to apologize. Because the first, 2 weeks of the season, specifically once Jalen Duren started to go absolutely nuclear, the Mexico City game, I think, was a major turning point. Despite the fact that he had been good the whole season. But, really, since Jalen Duren has just been berserk. And turned into Dwight Howard. No, I shouldn't even say Dwight Howard because this is where I'm going with it. People started to do sort of jokingly, but now they're not really kidding about it. The Kobe and Shaq thing with Cade and Jalen Duren. And I was like, haha, yeah, that's pretty funny. They're both sick. So sure, whatever. That's funny. No, dog, this was real Mamba mentality shit. We just saw it. That's what that was. Cade putting up 100 shots because he had to. There's a sequence where, I don't know, in transition, Cade tries to throw up a yam. He tries to throw up a yam. He just goes to dunk the ball, right? Cam Whitmore, super hard challenge. It wasn't dirty. It was just a hard play on the ball. It would be easy for me to say, kill Cam Whitmore. He did not do anything dirty. He didn't do anything cheap. It was just a hard play on the ball, right? It's basketball. And Cade goes down to the floor, lands on his tailbone. Brutal. They spend 10 damn minutes reviewing this thing for a hostile act, and then if it was actually a foul at all, Cade at this, in those 10 minutes goes to the locker room, gets a super extended rest, gets his fluids, comes back out, shoots his free throws. All right, cool. He could stay in the game. We end up going to overtime. Dog, I'm telling you, that was real life Kobe Bryant shit that Cade did in that game, and keeping those Pistons alive. That gave them, 7 wins in a row, and then I think it was the Bulls game that they just played, where they had even fewer guys, by the way. They had even less guys. Even fewer. They didn't have Cade. I didn't even get to watch this one. I was going to take the night off anyways, because I was like, okay, literally nobody's playing in this game, and they're going to lose to the Bulls again, which is annoying, but whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, I couldn't stomach not watching the game. It was the first one I haven't watched this season. Forgot they're playing the fucking Bulls. Media blackout. So dumb. So dumb. So I couldn't watch it, but I box score watched it. Yeah, they ended up beating the... Okay. Thank you, Duncan Robinson. Thank you, Dennis Jenkins. Thank you, B-Ball Paul. Thank you, Paul Reed, for just being sick. Javonte Green is a great Piston. He's a really good Piston. Javonte Green's been playing some big minutes for Detroit, and I've really enjoyed him. We are in the point of the Duncan Robinson thing where, okay, so we're just in the I like you phase of the circle, I think it helps that the Pistons have a sort of softened schedule, while they're dealing with all of these injuries. And despite that, they're still not losing these games. What is it, Friday that they play an NBA Cup game against Philly? I'm worried about that one. I'd like them to do well in the NBA Cup. Honestly, I would like them to. And what's crazy is they could lose that game against Philly and still be at the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference. They would still be the 1 seed right now. It's crazy. It does not matter right now. It literally doesn't matter at all. I'm not going to try to do that because it doesn't matter at all. But it's exciting. And I also have kind of been like the trade, no trade guy. Yeah, I'm going to do it again. But hold on. For just a second. But hold on. I am not only like team completely, you cannot trade anybody on this team. You just can't do it right now. You would just murder the culture and the identity that they've spent so much time building, and you can't move anybody on this team. But there was an interesting something that came out the other day. People are starting to like wonder if there's an unsort of named guy out there that the Pistons might be looking at that nobody's talking about right now. This has been floating around. Somebody, one of the smart basketball people was talking about this on a podcast recently, but they weren't naming names. And so Pistons Reddit tried to figure out, okay, who's this unknown guy, this unnamed guy that the Pistons might be looking at? Okay, so it wouldn't be Lauri, because everybody's thinking Lauri Markkanen is a guy that, Detroit would be. Okay, it's not him. No, it's not him. You know who mine is, sneaky? The Devin Booker thing at this point, I think that ship has sailed completely. The extension he signed, it's just over. It's like, all right, dude, you made your bed. You're a Phoenix Sun for the rest of your career. Like, unless somebody just does an insane gamble and their back is against the wall and they have to hit the fuck it button, and Devin Booker has to, he gets traded and he's a last-ditch effort for like a GM or an owner or something like that. He's just going to be a Phoenix Sun. You can't trade for that contract. The Pistons can't trade for that contract. It's just really too bad. Now he wants to pout and like throw a little hissy fit because the team stinks. It's like, well, it's what Myles Garrett's going through too. Like, just kind of is what it is, brother. Like, you chose the check and you knew what it was when you chose the check. So I think the Devin Booker thing, that ship has sailed, honestly. I wonder if it's Derrick White. I wonder if it's him. Because I'm looking at a Celtics team that this might be a really good year for you to be bad. For you to be bad, like really bad. This draft class is no joke. If they get, who's the kid from Kansas? Darren Peterson? Holy shit. They get that Boozer kid, who's the one from BYU deep. Whenever I read his name, I always, in my head, I say DB Nasty. That's not his damn name. If they get one of these guys, that there's a kid from New Zealand that's really good. Who's the kid from North Carolina? Is it Caleb Wilson? Is that his name? No, but Darren Peterson from Kansas. I mean, if I'm the Celtics, this is the year to just really be fine with it. We're seeing through the first, 10, 15 games of the season. Yeah, okay, Jaylen Brown can do the one thing. He can be the number one guy. This is funny. It's clearly stressing him out so damn much that his hair's falling out of his head. He's got to paint it on. So I don't know if it's really been, too helpful for his mental. But Jaylen Brown, as far as basketball is concerned, yeah, he can do the number one guy thing. But they're throwing out these lineups that are just like, what the fuck is Luka Garza doing playing in the game? Ever. For what reason? And they just like, despite the fact that not Pinson, what's the kid's name? Minton? What the fuck is that kid? Pignot? Pinot? What's that kid's name? He can play. They're playing like real sicko scary hours shit type. Like, man, some of these guys are playing, but they're winning games and they're hanging out in games, and they shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. There's no reason for it. Derrick White should get moved because it's not going to be Jaylen Brown. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. But I don't know. What do you want if you're Boston? Well, you want to you're at the point in your, hey, we're good, phase where it's like, okay, we need to be concerned about extending our window with these guys, right? Like, okay, we've got Tatum and we've got Jaylen Brown extended for the next, 5 years. And between the two of them, they're going to be making $700 million. So now it's about extending our window. Well, if I'm Boston, I look at a guy like Jaden Ivey, and I'm like, well, he plays the same damn position. It's not as good as Derrick White, but I think he plays as hard as Derrick White. If not, sometimes plays harder. Derrick White plays really fucking hard. But Ivey cares a lot. And do you say, okay, well, we could give them Derrick White, and then with Ivey's bird rights, they could extend him, something that Detroit isn't, intentionally not done yet. Going to keep saying it because I think it's interesting and I think it matters. And do you use that as your framework? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. But if there is somebody that's out there, I don't know that it needs to. I just don't know that they need to get a big. I think that they could get. I don't know. I think it could be a guy that like plays the shit out of defense and like shoots the ball really well. You know, would it help if that guy was 6'10"? Yeah. Yeah. That'd be cool. But I just think Derrick White, especially in the minutes that either supplement Cade's, or if Cade's just having one of those nights, which are, you know, seem to be far and few between this year, where he's just off. I just think that, you know, having a guy that you know can go get a bucket like Derrick White, I don't know. But again, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't think you need to do it. You can't change a damn thing about this team right now. You can't do it. I will say this. I've been meaning to mention this, and I've been forgetting to. Malik Beasley. The saga is over. Temporarily, it's over. So it was like a week or two ago at this point. It was about a week ago. Word to Bobby Shmurda. There's this report that comes out. It's Shams Charania sends out a tweet. The Pistons signed a fake guy. It was like a Glenn Powell adjacent, like AI generated guy. That is a Glenn Powell diss. I don't fuck with that guy at all. Fake guy. The Pistons got one of those. I've never heard of him before. I guess he used to play for the Kings. Whatever. It was notable because that filled their 15th roster spot, something that it seemed was intentional, that it had been left open. You would have assumed up to that point it was for Malik Beasley, as we waited for his federal gambling case to play out. The man was not indicted in this recent round of indictments, but despite that, had not been cleared by the league or by the federal government of these charges. Has he been charged with anything? Anyways, no. Okay, they filled the spot, so Malik's not coming back. Thank God. Thank God it's over. If it is. We're hearing reports that teams maybe in China are interested in China. They're interested. I don't know why I said it like that. China. They're interested in Malik Beasley. Cool. Ni hao, brother. That's really cool. I'm just excited for the Reddit post to fucking stop. Every time this guy posts anything on like his Snapchat, that guy could for real post a picture. Remember, you know, the Meek Mill picture of him sitting in the pool and he has fries in his lap? You know what Meek Mill picture I'm talking about? Malik Beasley could post that shit on his Instagram story with his nuts hanging out, and motherfuckers would sprint to the fucking Pistons subreddit and be like, oh my God, did you see? And like his location would be geotagged as like in Detroit. And people would be like, oh my God, did you see Malik's in Detroit? I wonder if he's training. I'm so tired of it. People got so mad at him for like the first month because he wasn't saying anything on social media. No shit. The guy who was under federal investigation for gambling on games that he was playing in was kind of like just playing it safe and just like being tight-lipped about the whole thing. You want to just get on the internet and start blabbing? That's not how real life works. That's not real. It's not real life. Everything that this guy fucking does. And I get it. Okay? He hit the most threes that a Detroit Piston has ever hit in a single season ever a year ago. During a season that, for a lot of fans, was rejuvenating, to say the least. And really gave us our punch back as fans. Okay? I get it. I get the emotional attachment to a guy like that in a moment like that during a season like that. I get it. Okay? What were the odds that he did it again? Would be my question. What were the odds that he did it again? Now, even if he hit 50 less threes, 100 less threes, still it would be a really good season for Detroit. For sure. We look pretty good right now, though. I don't know. If he walked through the door tomorrow and we waive this Glenn Powell character from the Pistons and we give that last spot once again to Malik Beasley, am I going to be mad? Hell no. No, that guy can shoot the shit out of the ball. But I'm just saying, like, the guy hasn't been cleared by anybody. He's not coming back anytime soon. And that's fine. This is literally just a guy who on most teams would be, well, I don't want to downplay. He's a really talented player. It's fucking Malik Beasley, bro. It's crazy. I just don't think he's going to be, I don't want to keep talking about this. I just don't care about it. And I hope that it's done. And if it is, I'm glad that it's done. Okay. ComicsRSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. We got an email in here about Shea. Haven't really talked about Oklahoma City at all this season. Ooh. Do we want to do this one first? Let me stick to the Shea one. Just, an email came in just moments ago, and I just maybe we'll blind read it after this one. Sorry. Here's the Shea email. This one comes into us from Sean. Sean, what's up, brother? Subject line: Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Hi, Nick. Sean here. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. To start this email off, it's important I preface that I'm a diehard Thunder fan, so there's likely some bias here. I started watching when I was 9 in 2011, so for them to win that title after years of watching and investing, even when we lost by like 200 points to the Grizzlies that one year, and we're starting a G League team, that was pretty special. As you can likely expect, Shea became one of my favorite players of the last few years. And after last season, I really started to think about where his current legacy resides. We are all aware of the potential that his legacy could hold. The Thunder are very, very good and are likely to be good for a long time. More championships for SGA are a possible reality, so we could see him continue to climb up these all-time rankings. With that being said, this email is focused on where his current legacy stands. I've noticed how media narratives greatly affect rather... Hold on. I've noticed how media narratives greatly affect rather a player's recency bias is positive or negative. A prime example would be the list that The Athletic put out last week, ranking the top 25 players of the 21st century. Luka was number 19. Tatum was at 23, and Shea was at 25. Other than Luka and Tatum having slightly longer success as top to 5'10" players in the league, are they really better than Shea all time? The foul bait narrative and the Thunder being really good has painted Shea in a bad light, so it's almost seemed like people are downplaying his success or can't even fully accept what we are seeing. Luka and Tatum had better starts to their careers, but Shea's last 2 seasons, especially last season, has been better than anything they've done in the regular season. I'm starting to wonder if this is a case of recency bias needing to actually be stronger for Shea instead of diminished. God damn, this is a long email. Let me speed ahead here, brother. You're fine, and you're doing good. You're on a roll here. This is just a long one. He's got a scoring championship. He's an all-star. First team All-NBA, Western Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP, League MVP, NBA champion. I could get into the advanced stats that just further his case, but ain't nobody got time for that. Thank God. Thank God. Just read me his trophy case. You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. You said the main point of this email is just to start our discussion about how we view recency bias and its validity. If NBA fans are ready to accept Shea as a generational player that he is, and how we compare players who may have a couple more great seasons than Shea does, but don't have anywhere near the legendary season that he just had. Also, and this is it, and this is the end of the email. Also, are there any other players from the past that you think are in a similar position that Shea is with NBA fans and the media? Ooh. I don't think this is a good answer. Melo is the first one that came to mind. Because the way that you're framing this is like he's really, really talented. You argue that he's more talented than the guys who, would be his competition for, best in the league. We weren't talking about Jokic here, but, or Giannis or anything, but you get what I'm saying. Super, super talented player, is medium to highly disrespected. That's just Melo. That was just him growing up to me. And still to this day, anytime that people try to, I just think it's such loser, like advanced stat, pushing my glasses up, like type shit when you try to tell me that Melo sucked. It bothers me so much. Because he's so good. Jab, jab, jab. Bucket. Which is basically just... And Julius Randle has made a career out of doing the exact same shit. And everybody has hated him. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just not a good... LaMarcus Aldridge was kind of the same. People didn't really hate him the same. I don't know. The Shea thing. I don't know. With Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I wonder if some of it... you use Tatum and Luka as examples. It's one thing, you cannot ignore a guy like Giannis or a guy like Jokic or a guy like Wembanyama. They're physical anomalies. You cannot ignore them when a basketball game is on, if not just through the way that they're playing, than in their stature. Like, you can't not pay attention to them. You know what I mean? Your eyes are very much, for one reason or another, drawn to those players, right? And then you have a guy like Luka who, I don't know, he sort of blends another Venn diagram of the sort of physical specimen. Not quite in the same way that Jokic is, but sort of in his own way. And also just being like a disgusting hooper, right? And he was before Shea, to your point. He was before Shea. You'd even kind of say the same thing about Tatum to a certain extent. And so you just, this era of like, I don't know, like triple-double machine prospects and just these insane, like essentially 5-tool players, if we can get away with using a baseball expression in basketball. Like, these are really like 5-tool players. These guys just do everything. They do everything. Well, when you don't have like the Wembanyama, the Giannis size, the height, whatever it is, once you're really good, like and I don't really know how good this take is. I'm just kind of saying it out loud. I don't know. We're going to find out though. I just kind of think you're like, yeah, what else? What else? If Kevin Durant was 6'2", I don't think people would care as much. But he's big as fuck and has sick handles and can shoot over the top of anybody and has been doing it for 20 years at the level that he does it. This is a Slim Reaper. It's really too bad that he hates that nickname because it's such a good one. It always was. It was always a good nickname, the Slim Reaper. With Shea, yeah, I just kind of think like physically he just looks like an NBA player, and I just think he plays like a really good NBA player. And I think that once you get into, you talk about the advanced numbers, yeah, like some of his mid-range shit is crazy. I don't know like what specifically off the top of my head, but I know that like last season specifically, he had like a lot of all-time like best ever, individual like stat, whatever. Like I just know like last year was an all-time efficient season from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it's especially funny for him this year, actually, because he's not really playing a ton in the games. He kind of just like gets his 30 minutes and then that's it. Because they just go so deep as a team and they're up by so much that like, put somebody else. I don't need to play in the games. But he gets his 30 points in 30 minutes and then give or take, 8.5 assists, whatever it is. His 3-ball isn't good. It's just not. It's fine. It's like league average at best, right? I think from the field this year, he's over 50%. Like he might be like north of 52 or 53% from the field. His 3-ball is what, 35? At most 36, but I'm going to look that up right now. I'm going to say it was 52 and 35 is what it is. And this is, sorry folks, this isn't good podcasting, but I want to hold myself accountable here because the guy is still just a walking 30 points despite the fact that he doesn't have to play that many games. That many minutes in the actual games. Yeah, he's 35%. I fucking nailed this, man. He's 35% from 3 and he's 52% from the field. Of course, he's knocking down all of his damn free throws. No, I don't know. I just kind of think he's like a guy that is good and there's otherwise nothing appealing about his game, like other than the fact that he's just a sick hooper. Like that's it. That's kind of it. On a team, by the way, that is otherwise like, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're unlikable. That would be a disgusting and heinous lie. They are not unlikable whatsoever. They're very, very charming as a group of players. They really, really are. But I also don't think that many people have cared to find that out. Because I think most of you who are listening to the show, like, I hate to be this guy, I really do, but in the NBA, it is the culture of the sport and like being a fan of the sport. Motherfuckers like don't be watching the games. Like they don't. Right? And that's what I was about to say. Is like I know that you guys do who listen to the show. Like you at home are watching the games. So like that like the Thunder like post game, on the court, like those interviews are really funny. All the players always just like ganging up on the reporter or on whoever the player is and, dumping a bunch of towels and stuff on them. Just like all the antics and stuff that they do. It's just a really likable bunch of guys and they're really funny. But it's fucking Oklahoma City, bro. Who cares? It's Oklahoma City. Who cares? You're not the Dodgers, You're not Los Angeles. You're Oklahoma City. But I thought America loved the underdog. No. No. That is an illusion. They say that to trick you. America has never cared about the underdog, ever. And it's not going to start just because Oklahoma City spent years doing it, not just the right way, but in like the most blueprint way, an unreplicatable blueprint way imaginable. It's not like Oklahoma City just one day started being sick as hell. We spent years being like, oh, one day this is really going to work. All these draft picks. One day this is really going to work. The Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing, the trade, couldn't have worked out better. You talk about all the picks. All the picks are fucking nothing compared to just how insane they lucked out. Insane it was that they lucked out with Shai being as good as he is in that Paul George trade. Seriously. And just slowly over the years, after the Russell Westbrook years, those start to sort of fizzle out. And then they go to the bubble and these Chris Paul years. Well, it was 1 year, wasn't it? They figured it out, man. And within 2 years, 3 years, they went from being one of the worst teams in the NBA to holding the fucking Larry O'Brien, bro. With the MVP of the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, people don't care. Am I going to start now because of this segment? No, I don't know. I like him. I don't know. I do think it's strange. I just wonder if maybe to the Luka point and the Tatum point, and like I think he and Shai could get lumped in this too. I think it's almost like there's a group of Anthony Edwards. Maybe you can put in here. I think he's a kind of a tier above this though. You'll see where I'm going with this, and we'll place Anthony Edwards in a second. Hopefully, I remember too. I just think that some of these guys they just acted as buffers in between the like Kevin Durant, Steph, and LeBron years, and like until we found the next thing, and that next thing is Victor Wembanyama. Does that make sense? So, like, you have this group of guys that are good enough to hold us over for now. Giannis was kind of somewhere in the between. It's kind of somewhere in between, where when he started to thrive, we were still doing the LeBron thing and the Cade thing and the Steph thing. But by the time, that it's really up for, like, Victor Wembanyama, I think it'll be, I don't want to say over for Giannis, but, the slope will have started to go down at some point. Giannis is kind of somewhere in the middle as one of those bridge guys, too. And I just think we've gotten to the next thing. Anthony Edwards I just think he's in the middle of the bridge players and the Victor Wembanyama. I just think he's somewhere in the middle. Despite the fact that the other guys that we're talking about here, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, 2 of those guys have rings, and all 3 of them have played in the finals. Anthony Edwards has done none of those. He's done neither of those things. And by the way, neither is Victor Wembanyama, and we've already crowned him. You know what I mean? I just think we talked about this at the beginning of when Victor Wembanyama on like the first game of the season went thermonuclear on Dallas. And it was like, we spend so many months, years seemingly, manufacturing this face of the league conversation. And it was right in front of us the whole time, and it was Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, I just think, like, if it was anybody else, they would have just taken the baton. They would have just said, it's mine. It's literally me. And I just think Victor Wembanyama's done that. And I'm so glad that I haven't really heard much on that conversation's front to start the season. Probably because the games have been so good, honestly. Probably because there's actually stuff to talk about. From the games, and we don't have to just do like the barbershop shit where of course, that's always another thing that's always just going to be sort of part of the culture of being a fan of the sport, but that's fun and that's harmless, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with having like the sort of the quote unquote barbershop talk, type shit like on TV, but it can't be like the mainstream, like who's presenting the games. Like it can't be your pregame and your halftime. Like I just don't think it can. Well, clearly it can. It's worked for inside the NBA for damn 30 years at this point. So obviously it can. What's the example that I'm trying to use? Anybody that's not inside the NBA? Like having Big Perk up there? No. What else do I got for you guys? Oh, there was an email that I said I wanted to maybe blind read. This one comes into us from James. This 31 minutes ago. So I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. This better be good, James. Welcome to the show, brother. Subject line, COVID memory. Hey, Nick, hoping you're well and I haven't missed the recording. No, you nailed this, dude. You couldn't have nailed this any better. I don't know if it was just in my circle of internet hell or not, but remember back during the pandemic when people did literally anything to keep busy, resulting in all sorts of things having moments? Of all things, the most out of nowhere one to me was sea shanties. Home Free released their sea shanty melody in 2022. One of the guys from Dragon Ball Z Abridged did a bunch of sea shanties as Goku. There were VTubers singing them, and they're all catchy as fuck. Guess they've got to be when you're on a boat for weeks or months on end, pre-radio, with nothing else to do besides work and drink rum. But they're my current earworm, and it's damn near driving me nuts. Still no fucking clue why they caught back on in the early 2020s of all times. But here we are, the year of our Lord 2025, and I'm still asking what to do with the drunken sailor. Obligatory culture take. The single greatest YouTube video is the history of the entire world, I guess. I've gotten that recommended to me like a million times. Never watched it, and I never will. I'll take your word for it, though. So what's the question here? The question is, do I remember when sea shanties had a moment during COVID? I do, actually. You're right about this. This happened. Yeah. Yeah, Sea of Thieves was also sort of big around this time. Sort of an overlap, I think, of interest in sort of maybe the two things. Yeah, that happened. What's another thing that was big during COVID? Does Among Us count? Is that too obvious to say everybody was playing Among Us? That was so fun. That really was fun. When everybody was collectively, because we talk about it all the time with media. Everybody was watching Tiger King at the same time. Everybody was watching The Last Dance at the same time. Queen's Gambit was on. I didn't watch Queen's Gambit for years after the fact. But at the time, during COVID, everybody was watching it, right? We all talk about that and how we were all experiencing the same thing and watching the same thing. It was very fun, right? Yeah, I don't know. Everybody playing the same thing, sort of culture, everybody playing Among Us. I thought that was really fun. I don't like to do COVID nostalgia. That's not true. I fucking love doing COVID nostalgia. I lie. I gaslight myself and I say I don't like it because I know that I'm not supposed to, and I know that it's annoying when other people do it. And I know that I'm just going to get so mad when one day, like, my son, however old he's going to be, and he's like, oh man, that sounds like so cool. Like, you didn't have to go to work, and like, I wouldn't have to go to school. Like, that sounds awesome. It was not awesome, Roman. It was not. It was not cool, bro. You know how hard it was to get toilet paper? You know how scary it was to go to the grocery store and not know if you were going to be able to get toilet paper? You know how scary that was? How insane that was? How crazy it was to go to the grocery store and there's a queue outside. I got to stand in fucking line to go to Walmart because there's only allowed to be 50 people in here at a time. Are you kidding me with this? Huh? Got me doing COVID nostalgia at the end of this episode. Yeah, I remember when Sea Shanties had a thing. As a matter of fact, you want to know about something that I talk about being gaslit. There was like, at some point during COVID, there was like a month or two where everybody on the internet decided to lie and say that they had this extravagant interest in the Roman Empire. Hey, fellas, like, do you ever just sit there and think about the Roman Empire? Hey, ladies, do you ever catch your man thinking about the Roman Empire? What the fuck are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? The collapse of the Roman. What the hell are you talking about? Everybody was acting like this was a real personality trait that anybody fucking had. You're a liar. You're a liar and you're a manipulator if you're going to sit there and tell me that this was you and this was real. It's fiction. You've made it up, buddy. Congratulations. You're a fucking liar. The Roman Empire. Nobody has ever cared about that, ever. It's unknowable what happened. It's unknowable. How many were there? How did it happen? Spotify. I don't know, Spotify. I'm so excited for Christmas this year. So excited for Christmas. Is that a question? I don't know. I guess I don't have one. I just wanted to let you know I'm really juiced for Christmas this year. Really, really juiced. Apple Podcasts. What's up? What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.